carrier development is slower than destroyer and frigate classes. The French Navy's conventionally powered Clemencia is typical of a post-World War II aircraft carrier, and due to the cost remained in service until 1997, after serving for 36 years. She was laid down in November 1955, launched in December 1957 and commissioned in November 1961. She's replaced by a fourth-generation aircraft carrier called Charles de Gaulle. The Air Group was at one time made up of about 40 planes, and as aviation advances took place, the carrier's inventory of aircraft changed. A typical contingent included 2 Eurocopter Dauphin Pedro helicopters, 2 Super Freelon helicopters, and 4 Dassault Etenard IVPs. 8 Vought Crusaders gave the carrier its all-weather interception capability. Plans were considered to upgrade the Crusader to the F-18 Hornet. 8 single-prop Breguet Elise aircraft that were used mainly as submarine killers. They were armed with lightweight torpedoes, depth charges and a variety of air-to-surface weapons. The Clemenceau was the 8th aircraft carrier of the French Navy, and from the 60s to the 90s she was the backbone of the French Navy, along with her sister ship, the Foch. During her career, she sailed more than 1 million nautical miles in 3,125 days at sea, on all the seas of the world. Her main missions included 1982 to 1984, the Civil War in Lebanon, 1987 to 1988, Iran-Iraq War, 1990 the First Gulf War, and from 1993 to 1996, the war in Yugoslavia. The Super Etenard had been developed in parallel with the new air-launched version of the Aerospatiale's anti-shipping missile, the AN-39 Exocet, and these were supplied to Argentina as well. At the time of the Falklands War, Argentina had taken delivery of 5 Super Etenards and 5 Exocets. All 5 of the missiles were used during the conflict. Britain, along with the USSR, took a different track in carrier design and built vessels that evolved around vertical takeoff and landing fighter bombers. The Invincible-class aircraft carrier is a design currently in use by the Royal Navy. There are 3 carriers of this class in operation: HMS Invincible, HMS Illustrious and HMS Ark Royal. The class design was for an escort carrier class and for anti-submarine warfare with 6 helicopters and command capability. The helicopter load was then increased to 9 and the vessel was again redesigned to a 19,500-ton carrier. The successful development of the Sea Harrier meant that the plan was reworked again to include a small complement of these STOVL aircraft. Prior to 1982, Invincible's air group consisted purely of Sea King anti-submarine aircraft and Sea Harrier aircraft. Typically 9 Sea Kings and 4 or 5 Sea Harriers were embarked. This was due to the fact that the original envisioned mission for the ships was to provide the heart of the ASW Hunter killer groups in the North Atlantic during a war against the Soviet Union. In that context, the main weapon of the carrier would not be its fighter aircraft, but its ASW helicopters. The fighters were on board to shoot down the occasional Soviet maritime patrol aircraft nosing around the ships and its escorts. The Falklands War changed all of that, since it proved that Britain still needed to retain the capability to use carrier air power in its traditional role of power protection, both over land and against enemy fleets. It became clear after the war that the Harrier should be a permanent feature of the three carriers. Another addition was a new type of Sea King, airborne early warning version. Illustrious carried the first examples of the type when it was rushed south in the aftermath of the Falklands to relieve Invincible of its guard duty around the islands. In the aftermath of the Falklands, the typical air group was 3 AEW Sea Kings, 9 ASW Sea Kings and 8 or 9 Sea Harriers. In more recent years, 3 other changes have occurred. One of those was the removal of the Sea Dart system, creating an increased deck parking for aircraft. The ships have also been fitted to handle the new Merlin helicopters in the Carrier Airborne ASW role. Recently, Invincible was decommissioned and will remain mothballed until 2010. Illustrious is planned to decommission in 2012 and Ark Royal